Hello everyone, welcome to my channel GK for GC. Here today we will discuss general knowledge questions. Instruction: please watch the video till end without skipping it. And a request: if you find my channel interesting, useful and informative, please like, share and subscribe it and support us. So let's start today's GK questions discussion. Question number 1. As a result of which act did Queen Victoria, who was the monarch of Britain, also became the sovereign of British territories in India with the title Empress of India in 1858? Question option 1. Indian Councils Act. Question option 2. Government of India Act. Option 3. Charter Act. Option 4. Regulating Act. So the answer is option 1, Indian Councils Act. Option 2, under the Government of India Act of 1858, Queen Victoria, who was, sorry, wait. Actually, the answer is option 2, Government of India Act. Under the Government of India Act of 1858, Queen Victoria, who was the monarch of Britain, also became the sovereign of British territories in India with the title Empress of India. The East India Company was liquidated and Indian territories of Britain were to be governed in the name of the British Queen. Question number 39. The objective of Simon Commission was to: option 1, decide India's political future, decide India's religious future, option 3, decide India's educational future, option 4, decide India's economical future. So the answer is option 1, decide India's political future. So question number 39. Option 1, the objective of Simon Commission was to review the working of the Government of India Act 1919 and decide the political future of India. It was a group of 7 British members of Parliament headed by John Simon. The Simon Commission was opposed in India because there was no Indian representative. Question number 40. Which act of British Parliament was also known as East India Company Act 1793? Option 1, the Government of India Act 1793. Option 2, the Charter Act 1793. Option 3, the Regulating Act 1793. The Indian Councils Act 1793. The answer is option 2, the Charter Act 1793. So question number 40. The East India Company Act 1793 is also known as the Charter Act 1793. It was an act of the Parliament of Great Britain which renewed the charter issued to the British East India Company. Question number 41. Rotary system of revenue collection in India introduced by the British was based on the: option 1, Smith's theory of rent, option 2, Ricardian theory of rent, option 3, Malthusian theory of rent, option 4, Marx theory of rent. So the answer is option 2, Ricardian theory of rent. So, question number 41. Rotary system was devised by Captain Alexander Reid and Sir Thomas Munro at the end of the 18th century and introduced by the latter when he was governor of Madras Presidency from 1819 to 26. The British officials were under much influence of the ideas of David Ricardo, the renowned economist of England during the early decades of the 19th century. He suggested that a landowner should have a claim only to the average rent prevailing at that time. According to him, when the land yielded more than this average rent, the landowner had a surplus that the state needed to tax. Question number 42. In which year was the Vernacular Press Act enacted in British India? Option 1, 1876, option 2, 1874, option 3, 1872, option 4, 1878. So the answer is option 4, 1878. The Vernacular Press Act was passed in 1878 by Lord Lytton. According to this law, the editor of a vernacular newspaper had to get the content reviewed by the police before publishing. The entire Vernacular Press Act of 1878 was replaced by Lord Ripon in 1882. Elphinstone was the governor of which province of India during 1819 to 27? Option 1 Northwest Frontier Province, option 2 Madras, option 3 Bengal, option 4 Bombay. So the answer is option 4 Bombay. So option 4 in 1819 Elphinstone was appointed Lieutenant Governor of Bombay, a post he held until 1827. During his tenure, he greatly promoted education in India at a time when opinion in Britain was against educating the natives. One of his principal achievements was the compilation of the Elphinstone Code. So question 14 Assertion region. So assertion. During the British rule, India's exports exceeded the imports, leading to surplus of balance of trade. Reason: the surplus of balance of trade was used for growth and development of India. So options are the surplus balance of option 1 both A and R are true and R is the correct explanation of A. Option 2 both A and R are true but R is not the correct explanation of A. Option 3 A is false but R is true. Option 4 A is true and R is false. So the answer is A, assertion is true but reason is false. During the colonial period, India's export trade was mainly based on raw materials such as cotton, jute, tea, and indigo. These raw materials were exported to Britain and other European countries where they were processed and manufactured into finished goods. India's exports exceeded its imports during this period, which means that India had an export surplus. The trade surplus was used to meet the administrative expenditure of British government and the expenses of war fought by the British. It was never used for Indian economy. Hence, assertion is true and reason is false. Question 45. Under which act was the rule of British Crown established over India? Option 1 Government of India Act 1833, Option 2 Charter Act of 1813, Option 3 Regulating Act of 1773, Option 4 Government of India Act 1858. So the answer is option 4 Government of India Act 1858. So question 45. The Government of India Act 1858 was an act of the British Parliament that transferred the government and territories of the East India Company to the British Crown. As a result of the act, the company's rule over British territories in India came to an end. Question 46. Which of the following acts is also known as Morley Minto reforms? Option 1 Indian Councils Act 1909, Government of India Act 1935, Option 3 Government of India Act 1919, Option 4 Indian Councils Act 1892. So the answer is option 1 Indian Councils Act 1909. So question 46 option 1 the Indian Councils Act 1909 is also known as the Morley Minto reforms. It was a series of reforms introduced by the British government in India in 1909. The reforms were named after John Morley, the Secretary of State for India, and Lord Minto, the Viceroy of India. The Morley Minto reforms were a significant step towards Indian self government. They introduced a number of changes, including the expansion of the legislative councils at the central and provincial levels, the introduction of elected seats in the legislative councils, the creation of separate electorates for Muslims, the appointment of Indians to the executive councils of the viceroy and the provincial governors. Which of the following was question number 47? Which of the following was enacted in 1860 in British India? Option 1 the Permanent Settlement of Bengal. Option 2 Hindu Widows Remarriage Act. Option 3 Indian Penal Code. Option 4 Indian Evidence Act. So the answer is option 3 Indian Penal Code. Question 47, Option 3 Indian Penal Code IPC was enacted in 1860 in British India. It was drafted by Thomas Babington Macaulay, who was the law member of the Governor General's Council. The IPC, Indian Penal Code, came into force on January 1, 1862. The IPC is a comprehensive code that covers all substantive aspects of criminal law in India. It is one of the oldest and most widely used criminal codes in the world. Question number 48. In which of the following years Cripps mission offered dominion status to India? Option 1 1939, option 2 1942, option 3 1945, option 4 1934. So the answer is option 2, that is 1942. So, question 48, option 2 Cripps mission headed by Sir Stafford Cripps was sent by the British government in March 1942 with constitutional proposals to seek Indian support for the World War II. It proposed setting up of a new constituent assembly which would draft a new constitution. It offered dominion status to India instead of a provision for complete independence. The dominion status it promised India in return after the war was quite vague and without a definite time frame. Question number 49. After independence, who had complete control over the established industries? Option 1 government, option 2 foreign investors, option 3 Britishers, option 4 private sector. So the answer is option 1 government. Government. Question 49 option 1 in 1948 it was decided that state would play the primary role in promoting the industrial sector. The Indian government after independence had put barriers to foreign trade and foreign investment. The government announced a new economic policy on July 24, 1991. This model of economic reforms was based on liberalization, privatization, and globalization. Presently, only one sectors, atomic energy and railway operations, are reserved exclusively for the public sector. Question number 50. Which Governor General built the Victoria Memorial in Kolkata in 1905 in the memory of Queen Victoria of Britain? Option 1 Lord Curzon, option 2 Lord Ripon, option 3 Lord Canning, option 4 Lord Bentinck. Here the answer is right. Here the option 2 is RIPON. So the answer is option 1 Lord Curzon. Located or question 50 located in Kolkata, the Victoria Memorial stands as a tribute to Queen Victoria, Empress of India from 1876 to 1901. Following the death of Empress Victoria in January 1901, Lord Curzon, the Viceroy of India, suggested its construction in Calcutta, then the capital of India. It is the largest monument to a monarch anywhere in the world. Now the type 4 question number 1. Who among the following started Marathi fortnightly newspaper Bahiskrit Bharat? Option 1 Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, option 2 Veer Savarkar, option 3 Vinoba Bhave, option 4 Lokmanya Tilak. So the answer is option 1 Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So, question 1, type 4. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar published the Marathi fortnightly Bahiskrit Bharat on 2 April 1927. He stated that the reason for starting the newspaper was that many types of political and social changes were taking place in the country, and he felt that by 1930 many big political improvements would take place in India. In such a situation, the untouchables of India should get rights in accordance with their numbers. Question number 2. E.P. Ramaswamy Naikar is associated with which of the following movements? Option 1 Self Respect Movement, option 2 Viacom Movement, option 3 Justice Movement, option 4 Ezhava Movement. So the answer is option 1 Self Respect Movement. E.P. Ramaswamy Naikar was an Indian social activist and politician who started the self-respect movement and Dravidar Kazhagam. The movement aimed at achieving a society where backward castes have equal human rights and encouraging backward castes to have self-respect in the context of a caste-based society that considered them to be low. Question number 3. Veer Kanwar Singh Jayanti is celebrated in Dash in order to recognize the achievements of Kanwar Singh during the Indian Rebellion of 1857. In option 1 Himachal Pradesh, option 2 Bihar, option 3 Uttarakhand, option 4 Uttar Pradesh. So the answer is option 2 Bihar. Question 3. Kanwar Singh from 1777 to 26 April 1858 was a notable leader during the Indian Rebellion of 1857. He belonged to a royal Ujjainiya Panwar Rajput house of Jagdishpur, currently a part of Bhojpur district in Bihar. 2019 marks the 160th anniversary of Veer Kanwar Singh's victory against the British Army. Question number 4. On March 23rd, India observes Dash Day or Divas as a tribute to Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev and Rajguru on their death anniversary. Option 1 Virod Divas, option 2 Shahid Divas, option 3 Protest Day, option 4 Tribute Day. So the answer is option 2 Shahid Divas. So on March 23, India observed Shahid Divas or Martyrs Day as a tribute to the Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev and Rajguru on their death anniversary. Bhagat Singh along with his associates Sukhdev Thapar and Shiva Ram Rajguru were hanged to death for the killing 21-year-old British police officer John Saunders on March 23, 1931. Question number 5. The Hindustan Socialist Republican Association was formed in the year dash with an aim to overthrow the British. Option 1 1930, option 2 1922, option 3 1928, option 4 1921. So the answer is option 3 1928. So, the Hindustan Socialist Republican Association (HSRA) was a revolutionary party established in 1928 at Firoz Shah Kotla in New Delhi by Chandrasekhar Azad, Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev Thapar, and others to fight against British colonial rule in India. The party was initially named Hindustan Republican Association by Bismil when he formed it in 1923. The main reason for the party's formation was Mahatma Gandhi's calling of the non-cooperation movement in 1922 because of the Chauri Chaura incident. So thank you, like, share and subscribe GK for GC.